Welcome to Spotlight Television. I'm your host, Damon Roberts. Joining me today is the president and CEO of Select GCR. You can find him online at www.selectgcr.com. CEO Jason Bortz. Jason, thanks for being here.
Damon, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So can you explain to me government contracting as a whole?
Sure. The government spends trillions of dollars every year to run the government. Everything they do is outsourced to public or private companies. So when they need a janitor, landscaper, educational trainer, IT professional, for example, they post a solicitation for that work description and then award a contract to the company that submitted a bid.
So what exactly does the government buy and how much do they spend each year?
You name it, they buy it. For example, tractors, tires, pipes, furniture, books, clothing, office supplies, cleaning equipment, carpets, all the way to toiletries. They also spend billions on studies, services, buildings, support, programs, training, even recruitment, to name a few. The U.S. government constantly awards every year over $450 billion in contracts and over $500 billion in grants.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit, talk about the company. Tell me a little bit about Select GCR, what you guys do, and the services that you provide.
Absolutely. We are a full-service administration and marketing firm for everything government contracting related. The initial friendly voice that most clients speak with on the other end of the phone are our GPAs. These are our government procurement advisors. These folks will discuss your business and industry, determine what your business qualifies for, determine the best opportunities and avenue for your business, discuss the steps that'll need to be taken, and finally talk about how we can help folks accomplish this stuff, and then what type of investment that might take to get our help.
Yeah, so why is it that you think all businesses are not taking advantage of these opportunities with the government?
I believe there's two major factors. Number one, people do have misconceptions about working with the United States government. They think that the government does not purchase their products or services within their industry. They may think that they're too small of a company to work with the almighty United States government. Some think that the government does not pay well, or that it may even take forever to get paid by the government. And Damon, in reality, none of that's true. First off, everything is public record when dealing with the government. So if you have any questions, you can normally find the answer. And the government does buy most products or services. They do work with mom and pop shops. They can pay well depending on the products or services, and they do normally pay on a net 30, especially if you're properly registered. The second reason, I think, is that most have a lack of knowledge, and that's okay. But again, everything is public record, and if they took the time to read and research, they would be amazed about the opportunities that are available to them.
So what would you say to the audience out there watching who is maybe interested now, and why should businesses choose Select GCR?
Well, we've been in business for over 6 years. We've continually grown, have processed thousands of registrations, certifications, GSA schedules. We have truly built an amazing team. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we have procured over $450 million in contracts, grants, loans, and other financial assistance for our clients. We have hundreds of online posts from happy clients, and we are the preeminent authority in this industry.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been a fascinating conversation. I've really enjoyed this, and I've certainly learned a lot today. If you want to know more about Select GCR, visit them online at www.selectgcr.com, or you can give them a call at the number on your screen. Jason Bortz, President and CEO of Select GCR, thanks for being here on Spotlight Television.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
In today's world of AI, digital communications, electronic everything, is your company's culture becoming too sterile, impersonal, and dry? Your employees are people, not EIN numbers who repeatedly do a production task over and over. They have needs, problems, issues, and oftentimes just need a confidential resource that is not some video, a lecture, or a 3-step self-help course. How can businesses show their employees tangibly how much they really care for them and their families? Well, it's easier than you think. A simple tactic that so many companies are now utilizing, a confidential, personal, and proactive employee care service to attract, retain, and support top talent. Marketplace Chaplains is the largest and longest continuing provider of workplace chaplains to corporate America today. Founded in Dallas, Texas on January 1st, 1984, it has expanded every year for the past 35 years and today serves every state in the country as well as many companies in Canada and Mexico. Joining me today is the Chief Marketing Officer, Jason Brown. And Jason, it's great to have you here on Spotlight Television. Tell us about Marketplace Chaplains and the services you provide.
Yes, thanks, Damon. We simply provide a personalized and proactive employee care service that's delivered through the use of chaplain care teams. And those teams are comprised of male, female, and ethnically diverse chaplains who make regularly scheduled worksite visits, usually weekly, to the worksite, just to be there and have a presence so employees can get a chance to know them if they want to and develop a relationship of trust and confidence. And then from there, it's up to the employee if they want to choose to talk to one of the chaplains and also what they want to talk about. So many times it's marriage, family, illness, healthcare, rebellious teenagers, grief, or a crisis situation. But the chaplain is always available anytime via an app as well for any concern that an employee or a family member may have or during crisis times.
Now, you're experiencing extraordinary growth. Can you explain why so many companies are now using Marketplace Chaplains?
Companies are looking for anything they can do to bolster their confidence with employees to show that they value and care for them as people, not just a robot or an EIN number like you described in the opening. And so we provide a very tangible way for companies to show their employees that they really do care about them.
So let's talk about some of the results that some of these companies are realizing.
Many companies are seeing greater retention. In surveys, they're seeing that employees say, I really appreciate the care team. They help me out of a jam with my family. Increased productivity. You know, when you come to work, you carry a lot of burdens from life and personal problems, and there's not a place just to dump those off and come in and focus solely on your job or task at hand. So we provide that pressure relief valve, so better productivity.
Well, this has been amazing, and I got to tell you, so for someone watching who wants to explore this for their company, what that might look like, what do they need to do next?
Good question, Damon. Simply go to our website, www.mchapusa.com, or Google Marketplace Chaplains. There's some great information there, some short videos, and some information on how to contact us to learn more about how we can customize this service for you. We have about 7 different service models, depending if you have a workforce in manufacturing or offices, or they work from home, or they work on the road, they're drivers, whatever. We're able to tailor our service, and we have the resources to provide the same level of care from for everybody, coast to coast and border to border.
Welcome back to Spotlight Television. Joining me now, live from Los Angeles, California, is super lawyer Kay Kokender-Toomey, who decided to follow her passion and trade in her successful career as an attorney to become an artist. Kay, welcome to Spotlight Television.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. And, I understand you were a longtime attorney before you formed your photography business. In fact, looking at your resume, you were a partner at the prestigious law firm Gibson Dunn and were named a top women attorney by the California Daily Journal 4 times and named super lawyer numerous times, as well as other accolades. Tell me a little bit about your law practice.
Sure. I was very fortunate to have spent my entire legal career of nearly 3 decades at the law firm of Gibson Dunn. While I was there, I practiced antitrust, securities, class action, and other complex business litigation. And many of the cases I handled were multi-billion-dollar cases.
So here's the million-dollar question with a resume like that. How did you become interested in photography?
I became interested in photography through a trip that I did not want to take, that my now husband really wanted to take. He wanted to go to Africa on safari.
So was your husband ultimately able to convince you to go on that trip?
Yes, he bribed me. He bought a fancy camera for me, and fortunately the salesperson had the good judgment to recommend a long telephoto lens for the camera. So I got the camera, I studied, and then when we got to Africa, and I took my first picture of a leopard up in a tree with no branches against a beautiful blue sky. And you could see every hair on the leopard. It was so gorgeous. And that was it. I was hooked on photography forevermore.
Yes, now I understand you've had quite a bit of success with your art. For example, I understand you had your artwork shown in a number of exhibitions recently. Tell me about some of those.
I've had my artwork shown in a number of exhibitions. Most recently, I've had a solo exhibition of my work here in the Who's Our Art Gallery. And it was a big success. I sold a lot of artwork, so I'm really super happy about that. I'm particularly happy though because I decided to include the City of Hope, a world-renowned cancer and treatment center, as part of the exhibition to receive a portion of the profits from the sale of the artwork. And it really made the exhibition a lot more meaningful for me. I personally am going to be donating my Silver Guardian Angel piece of artwork to the City of Hope.
Now, have you created any other types of artwork besides photography?
So I drew an angel in PowerPoint. I call it the Golden Guardian Angel. It turned out to be my husband's favorite piece of artwork that I created.
Now, I understand that you've created some books also with your photographs. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. I have created many books and greeting cards using my photography, and you can order anything of my products on the two different websites up on the screen.
Well, Kay, this has been fascinating. This discussion has been fascinating. I've certainly learned a lot. Tell me about your future plans in the future of your artwork.
My next exhibition is coming up on December 7 at the Walt Gerdner Gallery in Pasadena.
Well, Kay, thank you so much for being here on Spotlight Television. It's been an honor to have you on.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be here.
And we'll be right back.
Enchanted Rock was formed in 2006 to focus on technologies at or close to the point of electric consumption that reduce costs and improve reliability. In 2010, Enchanted Rock became the first in Texas to provide utility-grade backup power as a service. Enchanted Rock's backup generators ensure that customers will never be without power, allowing their business to operate normally when there's an outage in their area. Their innovative approach provides customers with highly reliable, ultra-clean backup generation at a fraction of the cost of traditional backup solutions. They do this through resiliency microgrids that are based on natural gas. Enchanted Rock actually owns the microgrids, and their entire purpose is to keep the lights on for that specific customer. Joining me today is Chief Commercial Officer of Enchanted Rock, Alan Shore. Alan, great to have you here.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me.
What does Enchanted Rock do?
Well, we're a provider of natural gas backup generators for commercial, industrial, institutional customers. We provide it as a turnkey service. So we'll do the design work, the installation work. We maintain those systems, we operate them when there's an outage, and we monitor them from our headquarters here in Houston, Texas.
Why is power resiliency something businesses should be thinking about?
You know, most businesses are more and more dependent on continuous flow of power for their operation. And we've found that when customers across a variety of industries look at the economic loss of having a power outage, they discover that there's some really unacceptable levels of economic harm that they might have to endure. The number of customer types that are looking for increased levels of reliability span across almost everybody, but in particular, things like data centers and healthcare providers, those are obvious examples of businesses that really want continuous level of power. But we find also other types of operations. Oil and gas operators are electrifying their operation, and they are more and more dependent on the grid. Grocery stores want to be up and operating when there's an emergency or some other kind of local calamity. Colleges and universities want to take care of both their research mission as well as their students when there are power outages. And the list goes really on. And We expect that as our model is much more prevalent across the country, we'll find lots and lots of examples where companies are looking for higher levels of reliability.
How is Enchanted Rock different from other backup generation providers?
Well, backup generation is not really a new subject. Diesel generators exist in a lot of places, but they are expensive to maintain, they're noisy, and with our model, we offer a cleaner, quieter natural gas generator that has the added feature of being able to operate into wholesale electric markets and provide services to those markets virtually every day. And the additional revenue from those services helps offset the cost of reliability for those customers that use our system, and they can get backup generation at a fraction of the cost of normal purchase of a diesel generator.
What principles was Enchanted Rock founded upon?
Well, our founders for Enchanted Rock came out of both the Navy and NASA, and those are both environments where resiliency is of paramount importance to their mission. They took what they learned there and really focused on applying that to more civilian type applications, with the kind of consistent theme that if you run generators often and you run them loaded, they're more likely to run when they're called upon for an emergency condition. So run often, run loaded is our mantra. And we've applied that in the way our market model works, because we're running those generators virtually every week under some kind of a loaded condition. So when there is a power outage, we know they're going to operate.
Alan, this has been very informative, and it's a great service for businesses to know. Alan Shore, Chief Commercial Officer of Enchanted Rock, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Jason. It's been great to be with you today.
The establishment of the University of Texas Health Science Center Regional Campus at Laredo was established to provide advanced health professional education and training programs and resources to Laredo and the South Texas region. Joining me today is Dr. Gladys C. Keene, Regional Dean, Clinical Professor of Pediatrics at the UT Health Science Center Regional Campus at Laredo. Dr. Keene, it is great to have you today. Tell us a little bit about Laredo, the county, and a demographic overview.
Laredo is the county seat for Webb County, Texas. It is located at the mid-Rio Grande border, U.S.-Mexico border, along the Rio Grande. Because of this border identity, there is a very strong bicultural identity here.
So let's talk about healthcare, and I want to focus on improving healthcare in Laredo, and I think it's important to get your perspective here, not only as a physician, but an educational leader in the Laredo area.
I think the most apparent answer would be to develop or to provide an adequate supply of well-trained healthcare professionals. We also must provide comprehensive health training programs at the local level so we can develop a good supply and an adequate supply of healthcare practitioners.
So what are some of the health challenges that you see facing the community there?
The obesity level here in our area is very, very high. And with it, the increase of diabetes and all the chronic health conditions that occur with diabetes.
So Laredo is growing. Is the healthcare workforce staying up to date? And if so, how are they staying up to date?
Our Laredo is just growing incredibly. Since NAFTA, it has been an explosion, not only of population, but economy. But has the healthcare workforce stayed up with that? No. And that is a real problem. And that's one of the real reasons why our regional campus here has such an important job. We must prepare and educate and supply an adequate supply of healthcare workforce to meet the needs of this fast growing sector of Texas.
Okay, so tell me more about these pipeline programs. Are these new programs? Detail the need for these programs and how they got started.
Well, pipeline programs isn't anything new. They've been around for a long time in different subjects, not just in healthcare. But in healthcare, it is a very important thing to offer because the students need information, especially if they have not had an exposure to the spectrum of health careers that are available.
Explain how placement of more expansive healthcare education funding in this region could potentially positively impact the state of Texas.
It is significantly becoming a Hispanic majority. And if we don't address bringing better education and higher paying jobs to the Hispanic population, the whole economy of Texas would be suffering. And if we could capture those students and we could train them locally, we would have many more excellent, well-trained, bilingual healthcare practitioners that we could use not just for our needs now or emergent needs of the future, but for the rest of the state.
So in closing, let's talk about the vision for UT Health San Antonio Regional Campus Laredo. What is your greatest priority right now?
Ultimately, we want to grow a sustainable labor force that could provide the service that we need for our community, not only in our community, but perhaps in the state of Texas and beyond.
Dr. Keene, keep up the great work, and thank you so much for being with us today.
It was really great being here today, and thank you so much for providing this opportunity. You have allowed us to share some of our ideas with you, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm David Drake. We're going to be talking to one of the leading e-commerce companies in the world today, Block Commerce. William Mahar, welcome. And I'm glad to have you here because I know you've been traveling around the world. Could you tell us in layman terms what Block Commerce is about?
Sure. So Block Commerce combines machine learning, predictive analysis, and AI with e-commerce to empower people to make the appropriate decisions and to be on the forefront of the trends that are developing in the e-commerce space.
How did the company start?
So we noticed that there was a lack as far as the information available for people to learn how to dropship online. That was roughly 2013. In fact, if you want to take a look at where we entered, you can look at Overstock's chart and you'll see that they were losing money up until about mid-2013, where all of a sudden they start climbing into profitability. That's because we were teaching people how to use their service.
So let me think, the audience that might be watching this, if they own a business, what could they do if they wanted to explore this?
Sure. Well, so basically they can create a free store with the click of a button. And up until now, one of the things that's prevented people from doing something like that is the fact that companies like Shopify typically hold on to your database. So we actually have the ability to bring your database of pre-existing customers over, which is the major hurdle for most people when they're considering switching off of one of those other platforms.
And I remember you telling me before that you guys also worked with firms like Walmart. Can you tell me how that worked out?
So we have several partnerships and contracts in place with key brands, some of them very well known, such as eBay and Bonanza and the Google Shopping Network, etc. Because a lot of these companies have realized the success that we've had over the past 4 or 5 years, and they want us to replicate that for their new merchants in their expanding markets.
Now, this works as well for international companies, local companies in the US on a global basis, correct?
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because one of the biggest value-added services that we provide is cross-border transactions. Currently, right now, our CEO, for example, when he made his first million in GMV, he had to pay $160,000 of that, or roughly 16% in Forex fees, platform fees, and cross-border fees. So by utilizing the blockchain to transact globally, you can reduce the cost of each transaction significantly, putting more profit in the retailer's pocket.
Okay, so you're using blockchain, but also people can pay with Bitcoin? Is that what you're going to do as well?
People will be able to pay with a variety of methods. One of the key things that we're doing that's different is we're also accepting fiat payments as well. And the reason for that is because you have to meet the customers where they are. They're used to transacting in a certain manner. So in order to get them to change, you have to provide the proper incentive. So along the way, we'll be incentivizing users to switch over to different payment methods, but we will offer full fiat payment systems as well.
So you mentioned how you work with small and large companies, and you also have training classes. Can you tell me more about the training classes that you have? I assume it's online.
Sure. So basically, if you're familiar with like Udemy or any of these other course marketplaces, that would be a good example for you to look at when seeing what we have with BecomU, for example. So we're going to have an online course marketplace where content creators can sell their courses. We have 32 million in digital product sales already from this model, and that was with only 10 content creators on a beta. So I'm sure you can extrapolate that out when we have a couple thousand content creators. And that's just one segment within this e-commerce ecosystem.
So how do you differentiate from Amazon that everybody knows about?
One of the key differences between us and Amazon is that Amazon, when you sell on Amazon as a reseller, nobody knows who you are. I don't know who I'm buying that product from. I just know I'm buying it from Amazon. So Amazon's done a very good job of making everybody work for them. One of the key differences with us is that we're here to build your own brand so that you're not selling Amazon. You're selling Kenji's shirts or whatever it is that you choose to sell. So we're empowering you to take control and create your own brand, giving you the tools to do so and a whole bunch of other functionality that's going to make it a lot easier for you.
What do you want the audience to take away from, today?
The main thing I'd like them to take away is that they now have a tremendous opportunity in front of them. They can take control of their future. They can create a store, build their own brand, and live life the way that they want.
It gives you a lot of freedom.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, William.
Thank you for having me.